What up, fam? Let me know when you get on if you can see and hear me, please. We are live on all three channels today, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which is interesting because we're actually going to talk about YouTube today. What up, fam? Let me know. While you're doing that, I'm going to, of course, get this shared around. Lucky Yagohobe or something close to that is on Instagram. What's up, Lucky? Yeah, I'm not going to try to butcher that again. Mike says, what's up, Chris? Not much, Mike. What's up with you? Tomislav says, hello, hello, hello. Hello, Tomislav. Always a pleasure. I saw a GIF earlier that reminded me of your dog. Not as happy though, but in the ballpark. Keith says, hey Chris, hope you got caught up on your sleep. Yeah, I was lazy as heck yesterday. I was gonna say a bad word, but you know, PG family entertainment that we have going on here. Mike says, just hanging at home, doing some weekend chores. Yep, I got some of that in my future too. I have to do that right after. I'm not going to be gross, but it's one of my least favorite ones that involves my cats. I'll just leave it at that. Giorgio DG on Instagram says, ciao. Ciao, Giorgio. Tomislav says, hair salons are opening from tomorrow here. Woo, finally getting that haircut. Man, now I'm jealous of you because mine is killing me. Fan Eunice is on Instagram. What's up, Fan? Carmen says, hi, Chris. Hope you are doing awesome. I am, Carmen. Thank you. I hope you're doing awesome as well. I mean that. Shouldn't have to add, I mean that, but, you know, a lot of people say things they don't mean. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. In Georgia, I think that barbershops and hair salons are allowed to be open now. In Georgia, the state, not the country. I don't know about the country, but that's not far from me. And the governor there is allowing them to open. So I have not completely ruled out the possibility of driving 6 hours to Atlanta to get a haircut. Darko2119 is on Instagram. What's up, Darko? If that's a Donnie Darko reference, that's cool because I like that movie. Mike says, damn, I just butchered mine wearing a hat for a while now. That's absolutely why I haven't tried it yet, because I know I would butcher mine and I don't own a hat. So can't do that. But it's driving me nuts. Like, I'm trying not to obsess over it and remember that people have, you know, like real problems, and it doesn't matter anyway, because the only exposure I'm getting to people is you guys. Not that, you know, I don't love you all, but, you know, it's just, wow. Lisa just joined on Instagram. Hello, Lisa. Always a pleasure. Just wrapping up, sharing this on my various Facebook pages. What are you using to stream? I'm using a tool called StreamYard, and I will drop the link to that in the comments for you. It's actually very, very cool, and it's the only one I've found that allows you to do Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I actually don't know how they're getting away with it because Facebook doesn't really allow that, but there you go. Now, it is a referral link. It's not an affiliate link, but it is a referral link. So if you ever sign up for it and spend money on it, then I will get a tiny commission. So, you know, if that bothers you, I do apologize. Thanks for the earlier webinar today. Oh, no problem. No problem. It's really not that much earlier, but I guess it is a little earlier. But yeah, I do have things I have to do today, but today's more or less a personal day. So figured I'd go ahead and get it taken care of. Yesterday, I just was not feeling it, although I would have done it had the public demanded it. But fortunately, everybody voted no, except for 1 or 2 people. Kathy says, hi, Chris. Hello, Kathy. Mike says, cool. Thank you, Mike. So the topic I chose was, to be perfectly honest, and for those of you in Profit Academy Daily, you know what I'm talking about, but is to just talk, was just to continue the keyword pattern. But I do see, well, I do know of a lot of people that want to be like YouTubers and things like that. And to me, that's one of the, probably of all the ways to make money online, that's one of the slowest, most difficult, and requires the most amount of work. Like vlogging, and I realize the irony of saying this as I'm broadcasting on YouTube, but the amount of time that it takes that goes into making a good video, and the equipment you need, and the imagination, it's just a lot of work. Not saying that it's not lucrative or fulfilling, because I really enjoy it, but it is not a beginner-friendly model, and it's portrayed that way a lot, but it's just not. Like, you have to be prepared to make videos for months on end that are really great quality that nobody's going to watch, you know, and it's just not something a lot of people are going to be willing to do. But with freelancing, you can, you know, throw up your profile and start making sales, doing what you already know how to do, like today, basically, you know. So, and again, I of course have a vested interest in freelancing. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. But I know that you've built some great SEO sites. This is from Mike. He says, do you go after niches that interest you? Yeah, for the most part. It just, especially for affiliate, it just, it just makes me more interested in working on it. Like, the very first SEO site ever was getridofcable.net. And like, at the time I was really, really passionate about I don't know why, but about getting rid of cable and saving money on it. And it ended up making me some good money from AdSense and from Amazon, although, you know, and then a few other programs as well. And then I have one in the nootropic space, which I was very interested in at one point. And I have some that I'm not so much interested in as well. But yeah, I think if you're doing like affiliate or niche marketing, which is something I like a lot too, I think it's important to choose something that's going to hold your interest, you know? So yeah, that's not to say that it's not or that it is a requirement, because it's not, but it helps. You know, the whole point of being a business owner, in my opinion, is to live life the way you want to live it, you know. And if you are not excited about writing about or promoting or doing whatever it is that you do, that's just defeats the whole purpose, you know. So I hope that answered that. We've got, man, these names are tough. Arnau Demorius on Instagram. Do you have one in the camping space? I do not, but Jim, my partner in Legitt and other things, has a really, really big camping site. It's takemecamping.org is his site. So yeah, takemecamping.org is his site, and he does quite well with that. It ranks for some good stuff, I think. I haven't looked at it in a while. I need to. Personally, I don't like camping because, well, that's outside, and I much prefer inside. Although, given the last, what are we on, like 8 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is now, I would happily go camping if I could. Dave says, I think I did see that. Yeah, that's Jim's site. Ranks for some pretty good stuff. It's a really nice site too. He's very, very proud of it. So he is otherwise occupied today. Usually he's on. Keith, I'm looking forward to speaking to you tomorrow. I actually have three. Yeah, I actually have 3 solid hours of calls tomorrow, so maybe 4. I'm not sure if the other one's scheduled yet. Shoo. Abdul says, hi, Chris. Hello, Abdul. What about using Bitcoin as a payment option? If there are no plans for that at this time, maybe somewhere in the future, but right now, the only payment option we'll be adding will be a credit card, and that we hope to have back in a few weeks. So I appreciate you being anxious to be able to buy stuff from us, and we will get credit card option as soon as we can. We just had they had some tech problems, the merchant we chose, and there aren't a ton of merchants that accept our business model, so we have to do what we can do. So sorry about that. What is this? Keith says, me too. Chris, we can't wait for that. Looking forward to it. Oh, snap. It's a party now. Nico says, hey, Chris. Hey, Nico. It's been an hour or so since I talked to you. I hope you're doing well. If you want to learn about messenger bots, well, Nico's not the guy. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely go check Nico out. He puts out some great stuff. He's a fairly good dude. He's like on a scale of 1 to 10, he's like a 5. Goodness. So. Carmen says, can I ask a question related to website? Absolutely. Fire away. Looks like Facebook is winning by a landslide today. YouTube and Instagram are both quiet. That's okay. I am hungry. It's been going on 16 hours since I ate last. Mike asks, what spaces do you think hold better value for being a freelancer right now in the time we are in? So things that people always need anyway, but usually hire internally for. So I guess web design in particular has done very, very well for quite a few people, like web design, web development. Link building for SEO is still doing very well. What else? Content is doing well. Everybody still needs all the things that they needed. They just don't want to pay full-time salaries for it now, So really anything you know how to do, you should get into. And then if you're looking for something else to do, look at what people are going to need as far as business services and what they would normally hire a full-time person for, but just can't afford to right now, or at least think they can't afford to while we're in a police state, and go from there. I know that's kind of a vague answer, so let me give some specifics. Web design, content, and anything creative, and then SEO as well. Indica says, hello, Chris. How are you doing? I'm doing great, Indica. Glad to see you again, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Carmen says, I have auto-optimize on my website that is impacting a plugin needed for my theme, and the theme does not run properly. Is there a better plugin than auto-optimize? I'm not familiar with that plugin. Is that like an image optimizer, or is it like an SEO plugin? What does it do? And then I'll try to give you an idea of what you can use in its place. Mike says, I think there are also people devaluing the work at this time because we're in a crunch. And I mean, yeah, I suppose there's some truth to that you may not be able to ask for as much as you usually do, but you may be able to get more at a lower rate. So, and it's not optimal, but you got to deal with things the way they are instead of the way they should be, Stephanie says, hi, Chris. Hope you're having a great day. Hello, Stephanie. I hope you're having a great day as well. Thanks for joining us. Mike says, look at Swift or WP Rocket, WP Supercache. Improve speed, compress pictures. I agree with Mike, and if Jim were here, he would agree as well to go with WP Rocket. Now, to be clear, that's not a full-on web or a speed. Good Lord, a website speed solution, but it of the plugins, that's the one I definitely recommend. So. Hope that answered that. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like the industry standard. And if you need help with that, hit up Jim Sabellico. He's a master at SEO. God, I cannot talk today. He is a master at website speed. He does very, very, very well with it. So. And we are caught up on questions. So let me take some Gatorade here. We've got Mohammed something on Instagram. It runs off the screen. Mike says, also look at optimizing images with, excuse me, short pixel or WP Smush. What is his name? I'm talking about Jim Sabellico. He is the co-founder and lead developer for Legitt. He's a coach in Superstar SEO Academy. And he's a good dude. He's usually here, but he had some other commitments today, which is okay. We'll let him off the hook this time. Paolo says, for a beginner, do you prefer a full-time job or freelance? The answer is a little tough. You need to pay your bills. So if you aren't making enough from freelancing yet, then you need to get a job and, keep a roof over your head. If your situation is different, where maybe you live with your parents or you don't necessarily need a lot of income, then I would say start freelancing and let that grow into your own business. So it just depends on your situation, but you gotta, everything is going to be revolving around the fact that you've just got to have a roof over your head and food and things like that. So I'm sorry. No need to apologize. Jim Sabellico is who you're looking at. If you had $1,000 to spend on Legitt, this is from Joshua. Thanks for showing up, Joshua. If you had $1,000 to spend on Legitt for local services G&B site, what would you spend it on? Well, first, I would, assuming that you want to spend all of it on Legitt and you don't want to do any of it yourself, it just depends. It just depends. But I would start with getting someone to optimize it. Set up the description, services, locations, all that stuff. I would start there because that's the most important part of GMB. Then I would make sure that you had at least the basic citations covered and well optimized. From there, I don't know how much that would bring you to. Let's say that brings you to about $200 or $300. I don't really know, and then from there, you're just going to want to, there's really not a ton you can buy. You can do map citations. Those I've find to help some. And then, for the most part, GMB you kind of have to do manually. I maybe get somebody to do your on page. What else? Let me look at my own list here and see what I can think of or see what I'm forgetting. I know I'm forgetting some things. Thing with GMB is there are only a handful of things you can do like service-wise for it. Most of it is more of like on page and then click-through rate and stuff like that. And I don't have any real services for click-through rate that I know of. Foundational citations, custom maps. I guess you could do some reviews, although right now you're kind of screwed on that. And maybe some embeds and like some fancy stuff like map stacking and those other types of maps. But for the most part, I don't know that I could spend $1,000 worth on it for that because most of it is done inside the GMB and on the website. Maybe some GMB posts or something like that. Maybe get somebody to write those for you. So that wasn't a great answer, and I apologize, but there just aren't that many services for it that I personally use, and I don't like to recommend things I don't do myself, Stephanie says, what are the most important metrics to show local business clients for monthly reporting? I guess it kind of depends on what you spoke to them about initially, you know. It could be that they care about getting in maps. If so, then you need to show them the progress of ranking in maps. Suppose they were at like, and the thing with maps is if it's not number in the top 3, then it's nowhere, but you can show the progress that you're making there. You can show, if you promised organic ranking, then you can show improvements in that. If you promised organic traffic, you can show improvements in that. Clicks to website. It really just depends on what arrangement you made with them and how you sold it to them. So you sell them on whatever it is you want to do for them, and then you show them the progress that you've made towards those goals. And maybe it's amount of leads coming in, whatever. So it just depends on the situation. What I do is I mostly sell, if we're talking about local SEO, I mostly sell ranking, whether it's GMB, organic, or both. But you didn't specify SEO, so you could be talking about other types of marketing as well, you know? So it just depends on what you've arranged with them. Indica says, does social shares power to change ranking? Not by themselves, no. They can, in concert with with links, with content, with changing content, with updating your site, they can help justify all that and make it look more natural and have more effect. But those by themselves, no, they won't help your ranking. Paolo says, thanks. Thank you, Paolo. Mike says, do you guys with SEO go through partners for links? And do you do the outreach yourselves? Any suggestions? So I guess you're asking, do we go through partners? The way I handle outreach is, and now I have a nice network, well, a really nice network of bloggers that I've got relationships with built up. That was originally built through doing outreach through our internal staff, both from me a little bit, but mostly from a partner that I have that does most of it. So yeah, you do. I mean, you can always buy guest posts, and that's certainly an option because it's a pain in the butt to get your own, but you can also do the outreach yourself. As far as suggestions, you're just going to have to use some search operators and some tools, you know. Mike says also regular GMB posting is good to service pages. Yeah, that's what I say. Joshua says, are PBN links going to have much of an effect on local if they aren't from local relevant sites? Excuse me. They can. You have to optimize the post correctly though. So you can add the title and the content and the URL to simulate some relevance. Of course, a relevant site is going to be more powerful, but you can manufacture relevance if you, especially if you're using your own PBNs, and you can play with like the page title and things like that. But I mean, obviously a relevant one is better, but that's really hard to come by. But that said, I have, with just optimizing the posts for the term that we're trying to rank for, I've done very, very well with that. So Search Console reports are great. For some clients, they are. Other clients I've shown that to, and they have no clue what I'm talking about. So, yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like clicks and things like that are good through Search Console. Paolo asks, do you price your products based on value offered? To some extent, yeah. Like, I mean, I guess it depends on what products you're talking about. Like, services, I try to base it, like SEO services, not like client SEO, but like freelance SEO services. I try to price them at a rate that I think people will buy, but I can still show them that it still represents the value of what they get for it. And I obviously need to make a profit on them too. So as far as like courses and things, yeah, again, you have to charge. First of all, if you're doing it through advertising, you have to charge a good bit to be able to make an ROI. But I also try to base it on how much value someone can get out of it. You know, if it's just of course they can go through in an afternoon. I'm not going to price that as something that I've built over the course of years, like Superstar SEO Academy. And then for like client services, it's basically, I price based on how hard it's going to be to achieve the goal that the client has. And then obviously you have to add some padding and then some profit for yourself on top of that. So I hope that answers your question. Mike asks, are city directories still a good way to help small businesses with links? Or would you say don't go that way? City directories. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by city directories. So you mean like a directory type site where you pay $10 a year and get listed in it? I don't know. Those tend to, they might be okay because you get some good relevance, but they tend to be super spammy too. So I would take it on a case by case basis. So Keith says, welcome, Jim. I didn't know Jim was here, but if he's here, welcome, Jim. Nice turnout today. Mike says, yes. Yeah, so just take it on a site-by-site basis. Do a little bit of research on the site. See if it's, what do you call it? If it's spammy, if it's got good links, if it's got some power. If so, then sure. If not, they can be a little bit crummy in my experience. Indica says, do you have any strategy for promoting own software like yours? Yeah, I mean, you just have to have it just depends on what problem the software solves, and you just have to identify who it solves it for, So, I mean, that's kind of the case of any product, but from there, you're just I would start with a really limited group of beta testers and get them to not do it for free, but get them to help you with it on a paid basis, with a super duper discount, and then get in exchange for getting good feedback and testimonials. And you actually make the adjustments based on their feedback. And then just that way you keep doing that for as long as you can to make the product as great as it can be. And then you can start promoting it. Does that make sense? If you're talking about ad strategy and all that stuff, I wouldn't go that route, except for maybe doing an info product front end that leads people into the software. So I hope that helps some. Mike says, I want to start one in the city first. Oh, if you want to create one, yeah, you can do that. Do you know of any tools like Local Falcon, but not as much in cost? The one that I use is Local Viking. I've had a really good relationship with them, and I really like that tool. So if you want, you can check that out at superstarseo.live. And I have a webinar I did on it here on the YouTube channel as well. So I was in I want to say December. So you can check that out. I think I ranked pretty well for Local Viking review too, although I haven't checked in a while. Indica says, yes, thank you. Thank you, Indica. Hector says, Chris, do you do Google Ads? I do. I'm not a master at it or anything like that, but we do them for Legitt, and I do them for Academy and stuff, but not a ton. Yeah. Joshua says, okay, sorry for being dense, but let me get this straight. Even if the PBN is not relevant to local service business, it can help GMB map pack rankings if the PBN is optimized correctly for the local service keyword. Well, you didn't specify local map ranking yet before. I don't know. A few years ago, that worked well for me. I don't know that it has a lot of impact now. I thought you were talking about organic ranking. I didn't know you were talking about maps. I don't think it's going to help that much. I think embedding your map can help a little bit on a PBN, but I don't see that as helpful as in 2018 when I wrote the Google Maps book about it. So it's hard to test that variable wise, but I don't know. For organic ranking, what I said definitely holds. I didn't realize you were talking about map ranking. I don't know if that makes a big difference or not. Probably not. Maybe I'll do a test on that and see what I can see. Mike says, awesome, thanks. Thank you, Mike. We got, I can't even pronounce that. Some more people on Instagram. Any suggestions for best way for Google certifications for an agency? Just take the test, I guess. I've never bothered to. I don't see much value in them personally, but Panatta says, hi, Chris. I'm currently working on some on-page SEO. I want to shorten the URLs because they're all really long. And I want to add the keyword in the URL also. Would that hurt anything? I think I need to redirect the new URL, right? Or is it not worth changing the URL? So if you're ranking well, I wouldn't change it. If you're not, then changing it to have the keyword in the URL is definitely a factor. And you would redirect the way it was originally to the way it is now. So if you're ranking, don't mess with it. But if you're not, then yes, change it to have the keyword in it, and then forward the old newer URL to the new one. I guess you did say local before, Joshua, so that was my fault for not grasping that or not reading that correctly. But no, I don't know that that's going to have much effect. It did back when I wrote my guide in like whatever 2017, and I don't even know that I still have that in there. If I do, I'll have to modify it, but that's due for a refresh. But no, I don't know that even with or without, I don't know that PBN links are going to have a ton of ranking on or effect on ranking in maps. So what about using backlinks for GMB ranking? Is that totally dead? What are the kinds of services I can buy on Legitt that will help with the GMB map pack ranking besides citations and on page? I still do a, what do you call it? I still do a Google map stack or whatever it was called, or map stack. I feel like that doesn't sound right, but I think that's the right term. A map stack that I've been using those for a while. And there's another service I use. Let me bring it up. But I mean, overall, you're just gonna have to test different ones and see what works for you. I do a lot of my own stuff, so I don't have as much experience with it. Not experience, but I don't have as many recommendations as I would like. I like to do those like Google Cloud services with map embeds. That I find that helps a lot. And there are still ways to use embeds in general that help. So I do like to do like a PBN embed and then some Web 2.0 embeds. What else? I haven't found a good click-through rate. I've tested click-through rate on my own and it works well. I haven't found a good service for it just yet. Maybe I should come up with one. What else? For like proximity, I found that those driving direction ones help a little bit, not as much as I would have liked. And then I do like, what? And then I do like map citations as well. So that's some of them. I would also try to customize it a little bit to your situation though. If Joshua, if you want, I can try to get, it's a little hard to navigate, but I'll look at some of the other ones and send you some links if you want. Mike says, do you guys use WordPress? If so, what SEO plugins are your favorites? SEO Press and Yoast are the main ones I use for WordPress. Tim says, your hair is looking good, Chris. Thank you, I think. Mike says, yep, embedded Web 2.0s with map stacks. Yeah, I still use those quite a bit for map ranking. I don't really get a lot of pop. PBNs is the main thing. I don't really get a lot of pop out. For organic ranking, I still get a ton, but for maps, not so much anymore. Let me see what else. I'm kind of looking through my own purchase history here. I would bring it up on camera, but I don't want to show the clients it's associated with. Jim says, did I miss the dad joke of the day? No, we haven't gotten there yet. Joshua says, okay, thanks. Let me see what else. Reviews, like I say, I like reviews. Most of what I do now, though, is based on stuff you can't really buy gigs. I can't believe I just said gigs. Buy gigs for, but I have a few things I'll send you over. Like, where is it? Like this one I've had pretty good success with as part of my campaigns. And since there's no other questions, I'll throw a few more in here. This one, but I mean, ultimately the fundamentals are the most important part, which I know you know that. Oh, I'm not forgetting. I'm putting some in the chat right now, and then I'll PM you after as well, because I want to make sure you have every chance to give me as much money as possible. Alrighty, so I guess Jim's wanting a dad joke, so let's see what we can do here. You know what before we get to the dad joke, you know what I don't get is that why they call places like where I live an apartment when they're so close together instead of apart. That's the joke. Well, you know what? I find myself funny, and that's all that matters. Do you recommend actually buying your views? Yeah. I mean, it can help if you can find a good vendor, and I do know some. So yeah, I'm always reluctant to say yes on stuff like that, but yeah, I have bought reviews and used them to good effect. Joshua says, thanks. Thank you, Joshua. Tim says, for a lot of local businesses, Google Map Pack is what they need. I'm still trying to get my site to rank for SEO in Map Pack. I have 20 plus citations. Worried if I can't rank my own site, I can't rank other sites. Well, first of all, don't worry that that's the case. Second, the SEO ones, you know what the best technique to rank for SEO terms is to go and report all the stupid ass lead gen sites and get them removed because they shouldn't be there in the first place. And then you'll find that there's only a handful that shouldn't even be there. But there's more to it than citations, but for sure. So you're in the academy, check out the maps training and then ask some specific questions there. But you got to optimize your GMB really, really well. You got to build out some nice citations that are well optimized. And then some other things too, as far as like finding local authority links and so on, embeds. So I'd be happy to take a look at your particular situation if you want to. So on Instagram, dpositive.vibe says, hi, how are you? I'm doing good, Dpositive. I hope you're well as well. Yeah. Joshua doesn't seem to have liked my dad joke. Haters gonna hate. Mike says laugh out loud, so at least one person liked it, dug it, enjoyed it, got value from it. Other things. I'm fighting off a sneeze. I say fighting off because people look at you like you're trying to kill them now if you sneeze. So not that anybody's been in my apartment in quite some time. Mike says 20 citations is small. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not just the amount though. You got to get like a good optimization of them. Depositive.vibe says, I spoke to you a couple days back and going to send you an email regarding my work presentations and suggestions, which might help me going further. Cool. Look forward to it. No, I don't need a pity laugh, Joshua. I know you're just doing that to humor me. Look at competitors' citation size, not so much their size, but yeah, you want to match what they have and then exceed it. So I guess that's kind of the same thing. How do you know if the lead gen sites are legit or not? Because if they have keyword name used as name, no, not that necessarily, because that could be legitimate. But I'm reluctant to even bring this up. I probably shouldn't have said anything, but you can kind of tell if it's in your local area anyway, by the location, by if they have a website, by if they have a bunch of stock photos. You know, I would never tell someone to report a real business, but I think personally, if it's not a real business, that's just part of the game. Some people would disagree with that, and I get where they're coming from. But if it's not, I think that they deserve to be reported. So that's just one thing. But don't report a real business. It won't work, first of all. And even if it does, it's a scummy thing to do. But what do you consider a well-optimized citation? So use everything that they give you, every picture, every link, every social thing, fill out everything, use geotag pictures, and then optimize the description just like you would if you were trying to rank that citation. Basically treat a citation like it's a web page that you own, like a website that you own, and then you're trying to optimize it for that term and get as much relevance from it as possible. So not only will that help with your maps and organic ranking, that citation itself might rank as well. You probably see a lot of like Yelp, as much as I hate them. You probably see like a lot of Yelp's ranking, and that's because generally speaking, they're well optimized. That's interesting. So I hope that answered that. Basically, well-optimized description, and they're all a little bit different, but use every link that they give you, use as many photos. If they let you have a video, you use that and do it. So who on Legitt is good with Elementor, Oxygen, and Thrive Theme/Site Builder? I know someone who's good with Elementor. I'm going to tag them. I'm going to tag two of them, actually. I don't know about the others, but I can't imagine there's much difference. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. But I tagged both of those guys for you, Jim and Adam. D Positive says, I'm very new to this, and as I discussed earlier, and I'm still doing some freelance for someone, and now it's all caps. I'm just making sure I give you something which will you help you and help in a long run. Sounds good. Just wanted to make sure I have the right knowledge. That's why I spoke to you a couple days back and wanted your suggestions. Sounds good. Danny says, thanks. Thank you, Danny. Tim says, thanks for the number of citation feedback. I can work on that citation number. I heard top GMB expert on a podcast say report the crap out of the slimy map listings. Yeah, I agree with that. I think if they aren't real, they don't deserve to be there. It ruins it for everyone. For SEO, though, there are a ton of marketing companies doing well for a one-man band, but still hoping to get to the top. You certainly can. Sorry, I had to look at a message there. Mike says, what local niches might be good right now to go after? I mean, e-commerce. Well, that's not local. I guess what you could do is find like restaurants that need e-commerce built in. And that's a good one. That don't have, not e-commerce, but like delivery set up, and you can help them set up with that. I really don't know. I've had a lot coming to me, and they've been all over the map. One was I don't want to give out niches, but that I got. But I guess I can do some. Like a moving company. I don't really know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know, because I've had people coming to me and they've been all over the map as far as both geography and both their niches. So I honestly don't know. Anything I say I'd be pulling it out of my ass, to be perfectly honest. But I would just critically, I would think about who would either be suffering during a time like this and going to need the help, or who would excel in a time like this and have money to spend. So I would weigh those two and kind of figure out what that would be, Adam says, let me know if you need any help. I assume that was in response to Danny. Danny says, what do you use to find keyword lists 400 plus for, say, local niches? I don't know that you want 400 niches or 400 keywords for a local niche? I don't know that I find that many. I find like the core handful, and then it just drags the long tails along with it. Unless I'm misreading the question. Tim says, if a client has an exact match domain, does every time it is used on page that counts toward your keyword density? If a client has an exact match domain, every time it's used on page, does that count toward keyword density? If you mean is every time the keyword used on, are you talking about, I don't know, can you clarify what you mean? You mean like if you put the URL on your page, does that count as keyword density? Then yes. The Positive says, is there any phone number apart from any other source of contact where I can speak to you in person? You would have to schedule a call with me, and I'd have to vet that first. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I have to manage that time very closely. So just either send an email and we'll see what happens, or you can you can book a consulting call. But I don't really do phone calls unless there's like something up front, rather than I have to vet my phone calls. I guess that's probably the way I need to put that. So just send an email with whatever it is that you'd like to talk about, and then we'll go from there. Mike says, how much content should I be putting out to rank an agency, do you think? Should be putting out 2 blog posts per week and YouTube videos? You should do all that, but that's not for the goal of ranking. You should do all that because it draws in traffic and it just helps build out your brand. But in theory, you don't need any content beyond the initial content to rank an agency site. Tim says, in the code. Probably depends. I think that it would read it to some extent. I wouldn't get too nuts about it though, because there are things in code that you can't control that are going to have your, your URL in it. But as long as you're being logical, I wouldn't worry too much about that. But I would think that if you used it, if you overdid it, then it could have an effect. But I really don't know for sure. But there are things in code that you're going to have your URL in it regardless, to your theme and things like that. So Edward says, Tim, it depends. From some tests I've seen, it mostly leans toward yes. Well, there you go. Tomislav says, what's the best way to figure out why GMB listing isn't showing at all in map results? You mean, is it not showing for keywords, or is it not? I'm really sorry. I'm trying not to sneeze. Is it not? Is it not showing up in Google, or is it just not ranking? Can you clarify that? Tim says, in the code, so if the company was called Bob's Moving and they're trying to rank for Myrtle Beach Moving, does things like bobsmoving.com/office moves count towards the keyword density? That's not really an EMD, so that's a different question. But if you're trying to rank for, well, yeah, because you haven't even used oh, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I wouldn't count let me read that again. So if the company was called Bob's Moving and they're trying to rank for Myrtle Beach Moving, does things like bobsmoving.com count towards the keyword density /office moves? I mean, if it's in the text somewhere, I would think it might make a little bit of an impact, so be a little conservative, but I don't know. That's not something I've really had to struggle with, I don't think. Edward says, at Tim, I would lean on being on the conservative side. There you go. Danny says, for hitting tier 2 or tier 3 sites using long tail keywords with aggressive, I assume that means backlinks, is the thought. I was just curious if you use besides the regular methods. I'm going to have to go back and see what your initial question was. For hitting tier 2 or tier 3 sites using long, oh, I see what you're saying. Honestly, I just do more generics at those lower tiers, like click here and see more, learn more, take a look, things like that. Not showing for keywords. You would just have to go through and do the ranking then. I would start with making sure the GMB was well optimized and that you don't have any bad citations out there, and then make sure that you have the main ones, and then just kind of go through the steps from there. Mike says, Uber Suggest is good for keywords and Ahrefs. It's really thinking about how keywords are used and sayings that those keywords, if you really want to rank for 400, I would focus on good volume keywords. All right. Would that bobsmoving.com count toward the keyword density? It may. It may. Just, don't go nuts with it and you'll be fine, but it may. I don't know for sure, but I would think so, at least a little bit. Oh, why do people do this? Tomislav says, okay, thanks. Thank you, Tomislav. And Tim, if your company name is Los Angeles Moving and your domain is losangelesmoving.com, then it sounds like if you're in Los Angeles moving to another suburb, yes, it would count. Danny says, right on. Thanks, guys. Edward says, yes. Wow, this hour flew by. Got about 10 minutes left. I was worried that there wasn't going to be enough today. Got Paco and Jess on Instagram. Hello, Paco and Jess. Let's see what's going on and see if I missed any questions anywhere else. Oh boy. Alrighty. Danny says, "Is that juice spike?" No. It's just straight up Gatorade. I don't drink, actually. I haven't drank since 2006. Edward asks, "Chris, do you cook?" I do. I don't do it often because it's hard to make for just one person, but I do like to cook. I'll make some chicken or some. I have this thing I make that has like walnuts and avocados and bacon, and then like in some olive oil that comes out really nicely. Sometimes I'll make some pasta, which I may make tonight, actually. Yeah, I do like to cook. I don't do it as often as I'd like to because of the portion issue and because I'm lazy. But I do. What about you? Do you cook? People probably think I cook a lot because I always make food references. I just find that something that everyone can relate to, though. Danny says, "What are the most popular types of orders are you seeing on Legitt?" I mean, SEO by far. Within SEO, it's usually backlinks and social signals that do best. Content would be next in line, whether it's copy or blog posts or just like site content. Web design, web development would probably be next. And I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think that's right. Those sell really well. Beyond that, it's kind of all over the place. Graphics is probably the next best category with logos and things like that. And then after that, it's just kind of a smattering of everything else. Mike says, "What should a good SEO be looking at to gain new clients? Video prospecting, email prospecting, and phone call?" Yes. You should do all of those. It depends on you, though. Generally, okay, let's cover the main ones. There's in-person, which right now kind of sucks, unfortunately. And then there's cold calling, which everyone hates, but it's still very, very effective if you can get good at it. Cold emailing, the upside to that is you can do a lot and you can target it specifically. The downside is there's a lot of barriers as well. There's LinkedIn, which, the Sam Ovens courses of the world have kind of made harder, but you can still do well with LinkedIn. And there's content marketing. And then there's, I'm forgetting something. There's advertising. You can do advertising as well as like video and things like that. And then there's what works best for me is what I call the celebrity method, which is literally what you're looking at right now. Like you do enough content, you run some ads, and people will start coming to you. So those are kind of the main ones. If you want to pick one or two, normally I would say in-person marketing, whether it's, chambers, meetups, things like that. Obviously, we're kind of not able to do that right now. So I would focus on cold calling and cold emailing, and then in your spare time, building out content and other assets that will bring you clients over time. So I hope that makes sense. Tim says, "What kind of material do you use for hurricane shutters?" I don't really. I've always, well, not always, but I live in an apartment, so they take care of most of that. I don't know. Hurricanes I've always lived at the beach, but I've only ever had effects from them a handful of times. So I don't know. Edward says, "Yes, I cook rice, chicken, broccoli." Just kidding. I cook steak, chicken, salmon, etc. Well, all of those are good. I like a good steak from time to time, though. I'm not sure what I'm going to make tonight. I have some chicken. I may make some chicken and pasta. That might be good. I'm reluctant to cook too much because, well, I don't want anything to go to waste. I'm very old fashioned or whatever about that. But also, who knows what's going to be out of stock next time you go to the store, That's very, very frustrating. All right, guys, we got about 5 minutes left. What else can we talk about today? I only briefly covered the main topic today, but like I said, that was mostly for SEO purposes. I get it all from Costco. That's good. I don't know how Costco here is. I'm not a member, but I normally I go to Publix, and they've been pretty well stocked. The only things they've been out of are TP, unfortunately. And I mean, unfortunately for other people, fortunately I am pretty well stocked on that. But what else? Yeah, they're out of that, and they're of course, out of hand sanitizer because the world lost its damn mind. Tim says, if I powered up all the citations I made once with Jeff's Power Up service, would that speed up the ranking for local Google Maps? It's a good service, and powering up citations does help. I haven't used his particular service. I should say. I think powering up citations does help. So yes, and I'm sure he does a great job because he does a great job on everything. He's been doing. I think you're in Academy. Check out the series he's been doing on lead gen and ring partner. That's some good stuff. He's building out a site live as it's going. I think it's going to really help a lot of folks. So if you're not in Academy, see how I use that segue? Check out superstarseo.com/monthly. Mike says Rice-A-Roni has chicken and broccoli. There you go. Solves the problem. Now I'm really getting hungry. All right, guys, we got about 3.5 minutes left. Not that there's a hurry, of course, but, I try to keep these at right around an hour. Bring back the Remember Me login function. It's always been there. It just, for whatever reason, people don't like to type their stuff in, but we are going to improve the amount of time it keeps you logged in for. It'll never be permanent because that's a security risk, but we're getting there. Morgan C says, I tried to sell on your platform, but I didn't get even a single order. Well, if you'd like, I'd be happy to take a look at your profile and make some suggestions, and then see if you've taken advantage of some of the free tools that we've given you, and I'll be happy to help you with that as well. So shoot me over your profile, and I'll take a look and see what I can do for you. I definitely want to help you succeed as much as I possibly can. So anything I can do to tweak that, and we'll be happy to help. But and I'm not putting this on you, but a lot of times people will say that, and then I'll never see any action taken. So if you're just listing a service isn't enough to get you sales. So, and I'm again not saying this is you, and I'm not picking on anyone in particular, but if you list your service and it's not well optimized, it doesn't look good, you aren't going to get any sales. If it is, then you may, but you're going to have to. If you send me your profile, I'll be happy to help you figure it out. If not, then I don't know how else to help you. And again, not talking about you specifically, but that's kind of a general thing, Tim says, let me know if you want any hand sanitizer and I'll hook you up. Selling a crap ton at my day job. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I may actually take you up on that. Is the platform for tech guys only? No, not at all. Yeah, if you want to throw in your profile right now, I'll quickly take a look. Otherwise, we can do it tomorrow or something. Guys, we got about 1 minute left. Any last minute questions? I'm going to wrap up Instagram because it's about to sign off anyway. Thanks a lot, Instagram. I'll see you next time. All right. And we got about 30 seconds left. So we will wrap it up when it hits 59:30. I'll go into my good night and good luck routine. Hopefully somebody gets that reference. I hope there's enough culture on here for that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me. The hour flew by today. Great session. Lots of great interaction and questions If you want to get your profile looked at for Legitt next time, show up and I'll be happy to take a look. Tim says, any tips for going from task to task? I see Chris does that a lot. Task to task. You mean like task management? I'm not sure what you mean. So if you want to clarify that real quick, I'll be happy to answer that as best as I can. But yeah, guys, if you want to get your Legitt profile looked at next week, I'm going to bring on some guests. I'm going to have Scott on one day, Scott Allen. Another time, Jim's going to be on. So just depending on their schedules. And yeah, so all right, I'm going to hang out for one more minute or two to see if I can get a little clarification on Tim's question because I don't want to leave anything out. And then we're going to call it a day. So figure out what you want out of life and go out and get it because you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the world. Kind of clearing the mental calculator. So I'm not an expert to speak on this by any stretch, but I have sort of a structure to my day. You know, I do this at first, this second, this third, and then just kind of punch things off the list. And then at the end of the day, I unplug as best as I can and just watch some meaningless TV or whatever, you know, just something to like that doesn't require my brain to work. And then you just have to figure out, you know, your priorities and bang those out in the order that makes the most sense. So I don't know if that answered your question or not. I hope it did. But if not, then just bring it up again tomorrow and we'll get into it in more depth. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great one.